Hello everybody and welcome to Wednesday's Talking Reds. I'm here with my main man, Mr. John Gibbons. You're right, Gibbo?
Awesome, all the better for seeing you.
Of course it is, of course it is. We're having a really fun morning. We're back here in Avenue HQ. It's a beautiful day and we've got some fantastic Liverpool type stories to get into. We're not going to waste your time talking about some of the other things that we're all pretty sick to death of right now. I think you know what I'm talking about. So we're just going to draw a line under those. And we're going to start with some really new, exciting news, and that is the return of Pep. And it's not the Pep you're thinking of. It's Pep Lijnders, former coach of ours, who went off and coached in Nijmegen in Holland for, well, the best part of half the season, really. He's come back into the fold, which can only be described as good news, isn't it, John?
Yeah, it is really good news. He's someone who's really highly thought of at Anfield, Melwood and Kirby. It was notable when we interviewed Trent Alexander-Arnold a couple of months ago. Pep was someone who we name-checked as someone who'd really helped him with his progression from exciting young player to first team player. He takes a lot of the training sessions, he does a lot of the work when you see them out doing open training out on tours, and hopefully some of you guys who are in America, you'll be able to see that. What you'll notice this summer is that Pep's leading a lot of the sessions, he's doing a lot of the drills and he's doing a lot of the shouting. And so he's someone who's really highly thought of. Obviously you're never going to keep a coaching staff together forever, but I think with the loss of Buvac as well, we don't really know what's going on there, but that was two key guys within a short space of time, and that's less than ideal. So to get Pep back, just a little more familiarity for the players, someone who's obviously Klopp trusts, and to get him back is really good. And obviously he got a head coach's job that didn't necessarily work out for him, but it's interesting he's now decided to come back to Liverpool rather than pursue that a little more. Maybe he sees this as a little bit of a promotion.
Well,
I don't know.
I think it is. I think the Buvac stuff is really interesting because obviously we're never really going to hear about the details of it, but it would suggest that Pep's return is going to cover most of the work that Buvac would have done. And as you said, he's been doing a lot of that in the training camp anyway. I think an interesting thing for me about the whole situation is the difference between being a manager, being the guy to be shot at, and then being a coach who can work behind the scenes. Because for Lijnders, he took a long time to decide whether or not he was going to take the job, because obviously he was really happy here at Liverpool. But it was in his hometown, it was in his home country, it was a club not in the top division, but who were potentially pushing to get promoted. So you can see why you would have thought it would work for him. But there's a piece written by Glenn Price on ESPN, probably about a month before he got the sack. It's really interesting to read some of what he says in it, and I'll pull a quote out here because I just wanted to talk to you about it. One of the things he said was, I wanted to go in depth tactically to explain the processes, but a lot of people just look at the game by really simple numbers, wins and losses, and they weren't interested in that. Now, obviously the different expectations on a manager compared to a coach, it feels like he's probably more comfortable in the coaching surroundings, which obviously is good for us, which means that he may not necessarily be tempted away again in the near future.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, you don't know until you give it a go, do you? And maybe he's realised that certain aspects of being the top dog, if you like, he didn't really like. He sounds like a guy who's very much interested in process.
Yeah.
And he's interested in developments, and he's interested in, well, how you get a play from here to here. And as he rightly says, there's not a lot of time for that in top level football. You know, if you're at a club who, as you say, is looking to get promoted, you know, it's results, isn't it? It's all about results. And if he used to go, well, we didn't get the result because of this bad bit of luck, but look at all this stuff that we're doing, like, you know.
They're not having it.
Whatever.
I mean, he was under a lot of, he got a lot of what could be called unjust criticism over there because the margin for error, like you say, is so small in those kind of situations. So it's good to see him back in a more familiar, happy role. And I think as far as Klopp's concerned, he's very happy to get him back because they had a really good, almost like symbiotic kind of relationship.
Yeah, and it's interesting he's come back and he's straight into a proper role, if you like, as well. Whereas if you look at Michael Beale, who went away, he went to South America and then came back, it was sort of, he always felt like he was do it all hanging on until for him to go and do something else. He didn't really have a proper job, to be honest with you. And so he was there and he was around. I think he was a consultant, so it's for the academy or something. But you know, he didn't have a team. He wasn't kind of overseeing everything, and he felt like something needs to happen here either way. Now, obviously, Michael Beale's gone up to Rangers, and we all wish him luck there.
Definitely.
But with Pep, it's very much he's coming back in, and he's coming to do something very specific. And so I think he's here to stay for at least the foreseeable future.
Which can only be good news, especially if he keeps bringing through or working and improving the players like he's done, like you say, with Trent and some of the others from the youth team. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about transfers because, that's what we do.
You love it. Not you. You love it.
You know what?
I was all right with him.
I used to be a little bit more ambivalent because I'm all about the action, me, you know that. But this season, I feel like I've kind of got into it a little bit more. It seems to be a little bit more exciting, less sagas. Although there may well be one developing soon in France, we don't know. But speaking of that potential developing saga in France, there's been a little twist which I kind of like the sound of. We've been linked with another Lyon player, another midfielder, a lad called Houssem Aouar, I believe his name's pronounced. And he's a very good young player. I don't know whether or not you saw any of Everton's game in the Europa League, but he scored a fantastic goal against them.
Oh yeah,
in the French game.
I'm with you now. Yeah, I remember him. I mean, you obviously did the European show, Mo, so you know a lot more about these guys than me. So I'm just gonna let you talk for a while.
Yeah, well, I
remember that goal.
I wanted to put it in context, because I mean, obviously, goals against Everton, you're gonna.
I mean, there's a lot of them, but you do tend to.
This was a particularly good one.
It was a good one.
And the reason why I think it's interesting, and the way that the rumor has been let out, so to speak, is because Lyon really see him as the guy who they want to kind of replace Fekir with, if they have to replace Fekir. So seeing interest in him is almost kind of like hardened their response to say, no, we're definitely not getting rid of this guy, but then maybe you may be able to get this other guy. So there's almost a progression there, because he is a talented boy, but he's only had one season of first team football. He seems, from interviews I've seen with him, like he's got his head screwed on. He's more than happy to continue at Lyon to fill Fekir's shoes. He probably feels like he can develop, and I do too, but the way that this story has been kind of situated, it's almost as if there's a bit of a chess move going on here with our interest in one to kind of release the other. Right. So I'm hoping that this means that, the Fekir deal will start to move a little bit quicker. That could only be good, right?
Only be good. I mean, we do need to remember that it is still very early, and just because the Fabinho one happened so quickly, it doesn't mean that they kind of all...
Been a bit spoiled.
I've heard this called the saga, and I thought, it's still early June, I mean, we can't all be signing 34-year-old defenders on free transfers like Arsenal, you know what I mean? So I'm making fun of Sam, which is me because he's poorly today, and he's coming like a soldier. But yeah, I think you want it done sooner rather than later because we're football fans and impatient. But I'm not too worried.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of a fear of the saga because of what happened last season, but with there being such a big event as the World Cup, and obviously with the transfer window being shorter, it does shorten the potential for these kind of things. So most clubs are going to be wanting to do their deals before the World Cup. With Fekir, I believe that the Lyon chairman doesn't, but it seems like almost everyone else involved in this deal does, so it's just going to be a case of, can we get him persuaded? There's been another transfer name that's been put out there, and I want to mention him just because his name's fantastic. I'm absolutely in love with this guy's name, Moses Daddy Simon. I mean, all the chant possibilities are literally endless, but it's a little one out of left field, even more so than the Fabinho deal, because he plays in Belgium. He's not massively set the world alight this season.
It's 5 in 20, is it? I think
yeah, but he has been a regular for the Nigerian team for pretty much the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, he's got injured for the World Cup, though, hasn't
he? He did get injured for the World Cup. He missed the last game. He didn't play against England for that reason. But he's a good young player, developing the kind with the raw materials you would expect Klopp to be able to churn. But I think part of the problem with this deal, in terms of how it's been received, is that people don't know him. So people don't know how excited they can or they should be, which is it's interesting because it's a bit of a dual battle in the transfer market. Do you go for the people that no one else is going for, who are going to turn into superstars, or do you go for the ready-made superstars?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I saw someone tweet before, and apologies for who it was, whose opinions I'm now going to steal. But he said, like, it's almost like they want Southampton to buy him for 10 million, and for him to do really well, they must have buy him for 50.
Exactly.
Like, that's sort of what we're after, and like, well, you know, if they're so sure on, and I gather that Klopp they were tempted on Keita when he went to Leipzig from Salzburg, and they thought, I was only playing in Austria and not sure, and then really kicked themselves. And so it might be one of them where they're thinking, do you remember when we saw that lad, and you know, we weren't sure because of the league he was playing in, and we weren't sure because he hadn't quite set the world alight yet, but we were confident on his abilities. There might be a little bit of that. When you hear about how he plays, I've not seen him, but we hear about how he plays, he sounds like, you know, very similar to the wide forwards we've got in terms of, you know, he likes to cut in on his stronger foot rather than kind of beating people out on the outside, and that's kind of similar to how we play. And so another one of those guys who's able to come in and offer pace, and you know, doesn't mean that, you know, we're throwing like a Lallana on in the Champions League final. Not that I'm saying that Lallana's not a good player, but what I mean is, you know, it's not like for like.
No, definitely.
So if they're looking for more pace in the wide areas and they're identifying his potential, then who knows?
No, it's funny though. I think we're all excited to see exactly who comes into the squad, because, as you know, the club have probably been working on this for longer than we anticipate. The first link, I was going back through the internet, the first links with this kid was actually 2015. So we've obviously been keeping tabs on him for some while. So there may well be something in that. Keep the watching. Now, we're going to try and go through this bit really quickly in case I start doing that again. But there's been something else exciting that's happened recently. Our good old mate, Mo Salah, has done a new interview with the Bleacher Report, John, and it's quite an in-depth interview, but the highlight for us is just how happy he is here in Liverpool.
Yeah, it's a nice interview. It's sort of like, it's almost like a lifestyle piece, isn't it, rather than like kind of an in-depth kind of footy piece. You know, it's interesting. I mean, we were just talking about it on the way through, where we say, you know, that he seems to be doing a lot in America at the moment. There was obviously the CNN thing that we were involved with. There was a big documentary now. There's this Bleacher Report thing you pointed out, and he's talking about LeBron James, and they're almost trying to position him, his people, as a kind of one of the next world sports superstars.
Yes.
Forget about football, you know what I mean? As someone who's going to be kind of a world sports icon, which is interesting, and kind of good luck to them, if you like. You know, it's good to have ambition in life.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny though, because I think I get a sense from some Liverpool fans that the more you see Salah, well, not so much courting celebrity, but allowing people to revere him, people start to worry that this means that his head's going to be turned and he's going to want to go off somewhere else. But it's quite the opposite. The fact of the matter is that he's proven he can be that sports star right here at Liverpool.
Yeah, and he says that in the interview. He says that he talks about how much love he's got from the fans, and how Liverpool people's obsessive nature with football. And he said, well, that's great for me, because I've given my whole life to football. You know, he's dedicated every part of him. You know, the you know, hikes to training when he was a kid and stuff like that is all him dedicating his life. So he's like, yeah, this is what it should be like.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go somewhere where they're not that bothered.
No.
I've been to Chelsea already.
But no, he does mention he outside of Egypt, this is his most comfortable place, because obviously he's been at Basel, he's been in Rome, he's been down in West London. I can't say I blame him for being more comfortable up here, but it's always one of those things that just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable that he's thinking about the long game. And you could tell how disappointed he was during the Champions League final, not just because of the fact he was injured, but because of the fact that he couldn't put a positive mark on the game. He couldn't help his team get over the line. So he's going to be completely fired up. I think you'll probably see that during the World Cup, that he's going to be running through brick walls. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt on any of them. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting time in the life of Mo Salah, and hopefully us as Liverpool fans watching him. Can't wait.
Indeed.
Now, we're doing a tight, punchy Talking Reds today, so we haven't got any papers, but if you read in the papers, United signed someone, Arsenal signed someone, England are talking about England stuff. It's pretty much it. Nothing else has happened, really. You're not missing a lot. One thing that is happening though is pretty much, well, as soon as this happens, as long as we get a bit of silence maybe, we're going to be recording a new gutter show, which is going to cover a couple of those guys I mentioned earlier, as well as a few new hints that our doyen of deals, Mr. Rob Gutman, has kind of scored.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. I literally just thought of that, you know.
That's awesome.
You can have that one if you're listening, Rob. So we're going to be recording that. There's also going to be a season review coming out with Sean Rogers and Paul Cope, where they're going to be going in depth across the season and working out exactly how we got to the situation we got. And for most of us, it's really good fun because it's going to help us remember all those fantastic games of football we've played over the last 9 months or so. And that's also going to make us a little bit more excited for all that's still to come. So there's plenty of great stuff happening on the Anfield Wrap today.
If you would like to see a Rob Gutman, the Doyen of Deals t-shirt, just let me know, real merch opportunity. Also, I like the idea of a Mo Stewart, I'm all about the action.
Yeah.
From earlier, that was pretty good as well. So, like for Doyen of Deals, retweet for
Yeah, you know,
all about the action.
It's funny, I could come up with all these names, but I'm trying to start a new TV show and I can't think of a name for that for love nor money. It's been driving me mad. So.
Maybe it's all about the action. Maybe it is.
Well, I mean...
Or is that more of a slogan?
I think that's more of a tagline than the actual name of the show. But
text in if you've got a name for it.
yeah, so it's a new sports show I'm doing. You'll be hearing about it more in detail over the coming weeks and stuff. But yeah, we're looking for names. So yeah, we'll probably end there on that last little bit of advertisement. But yeah, it's been a great day. There's going to be more to come. Robbo will be here tomorrow.